I returned to my bank to speak to them about the banking crisis, and you won't believe what happened. Hello future investors, and welcome back to another weekly episode. Now in today's video I'm going to be talking about the banking crisis and what happened when I went back to speak to them. But first of all, I've kept the new angle of my filming setup because you guys were saying in the comments that you really liked the new angle of the filming setup. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I do read the comments and I always try to reply, and I do take on board what you say. So here we are returning with the better, new and improved filming angle. So while I'm discussing the topic of today, I'm going to be getting out some precious metals to show you and just have a chat while we get onto this topic. Now recently, most of you will know who watch my channel regularly that there is a bit of a banking crisis going on in the world right now, and as most of you do, a lot of you watch other precious metal YouTubers such as Silverstruck, 365, the Stat Collector, and myself as Future Investments, and we've all been covering this sort of banking crisis. Now, I did a video on it where I went and spoke to my bank saying, look, I used the opportunity to get some money out, and I spoke to the cashier and asked them about the banking crisis, and they kind of gave me a little bit of a blasé response saying they weren't worried, there's nothing to be worried about with my specific bank, etc. It was a very generic response, kind of what I expected. So after posting that video, I got a few comments from people saying, well, the cashier would never tell you what is really happening, you know, either they don't know or they're not allowed to tell you. You should ask a manager and stuff like that. So I thought, do you know what? For the sake of this content, I thought it would be a good opportunity. So as it happened, I was in town and I made basically an excuse for myself to go into the bank in my high street, and I thought this is my opportunity to go again. Now obviously it's a different day, a different time, so I managed to speak to different people this time. Now this time when I walked into the bank, there was a branch manager where they stand like a centre sort of stand, sort of in the middle of the high street bank. I guess it's where they greet people coming into the bank, and they normally say things like, what do you need? Are you depositing money today? Are you taking money? Do you need just a cash point, or do you need to speak to a cashier? So I went up to that banking manager, and essentially this is how the conversation went. I went up and I said, you know, I have a banking account here. I've been banking here for a long time. Today, as an excuse, just to start the conversation, basically I said I'm looking to withdraw quite a large amount of money, and yeah, and they basically asked me how much. I didn't need that money. It was just an excuse to talk to the bank manager. And basically I got quite chatty with them, and I was lucky that this bank manager was actually quite relaxed really, and they were quite friendly. I got the impression that they were willing just to have a bit of a conversation. I think it was lucky that the fact that the bank was quite quiet, probably due to the time of day that I went in, but you know, yeah. So anyway, I said to them, like, I'm a content creator. During our sort of brief discussion, I said, oh, I have a content channel on, you know, precious metals and stuff like that, because they ask you normally when you want to withdraw a large amount of money, why you want to withdraw that money. I don't really see why it's their business. I don't think it is their business. At the end of the day, it's your money in the bank account. Why should they know what you spend it on? And it's a bit awkward, isn't it, saying, well, I'm taking out thousands of pounds to buy gold and silver. You just don't want to be telling people that, because it's not safe, is it? Let's be honest. And this comes back to the fact that, you know, banks, it's not safe to keep your money in there, is it? Because it just shows the fact that they could potentially, well, they could definitely, if they want to restrict your money, they can. They could actually stop you from taking out your own money. I mean, it's ridiculous. If the government said, hey, look, this specific bank, do not let Future Investments take any money out of his bank account. They go, okay, Mr. Government, we will do that. So that's exactly why I'm starting to really think about not keeping much money at all in the bank account. So anyway, getting back onto the conversation, I explained that I was a YouTube content creator and that I'm withdrawing money today to basically, I wanted to say, like, have cash in an episode, which would be good for the video content to kind of compare it with gold and silver. And during this conversation, I then explained I'm doing a video on the banking crisis, and you know, I'm aware of Credit Suisse closing and Silicon Valley. Well, Credit Suisse got bought out, but Silicon Valley obviously closed down in America. So I said, you know, I've been doing a few videos on this. Could I ask you a couple of questions, as obviously you work in the bank? And didn't know where the conversation was going to go, clearly, but they kind of became a little bit reserved. So yeah, I asked a question. I said, do I have to worry with my bank? Is there any concern? And what is the future of the bank, especially high street banks? And basically, they kind of said they can't really talk about it. All of a sudden, the conversation changed, and this branch manager kind of went from being very chatty and friendly to almost a little bit cold and a little bit like, okay, I'm done with this conversation now. And they kind of just gave me an answer which didn't mean anything. They just gave me sort of, you know, when you see these people having interviews and they're very well like adapted to being interviewed, and they get asked a difficult question and they answer the question without giving any form of actual answer to the question. That's exactly what I got. And yeah, basically they were kind of shooing me out essentially. They said there's nothing to worry about and banks are not going anywhere. It was almost quite firm like that. But yeah, I felt like I was not being welcomed to that conversation anymore. It became a little bit short, if you like, as to the topic of conversation. So very quickly, I ended that conversation there and said, okay, do I need to move on to a cashier to get my money out or go to the cash point, knowing that they were going to say the cashier because of the amount of money. So I left the conversation and took some money out. Not that I needed to get it out because it wasn't for a video. I just used it as an excuse to speak to the bank. So overall, how did that experience go? Well, I felt a little bit sort of, how should I say, like I wasn't really valued as soon as I asked that question about the bank. I kind of felt like I was being hushed a little bit, which doesn't concern me because, again, I'm not surprised that I kind of got that response. When I initially had a very open conversation starting off, that was the surprise. I was expecting the conversation to go how it did, but it was disappointing not to come away with any more information. I kind of got the impression that the branch manager didn't even know themselves. I felt like they almost felt like, how dare I question them, you know, a little bit in my mind. And yeah, I wasn't trying to question anyone like I know better. I was just simply asking the question for the purpose of information and the purpose of YouTube content to come back for you guys here, because obviously I know it's a very hot topic right now regarding precious metals. So yeah, difficult one at the minute, but I'm certainly not keeping a lot of money in the bank. I keep it in other assets. I should put a lot more of my money into precious metals, if I'm totally honest. I still do keep too much money in the bank or in other forms of savings accounts, which aren't directly linked with a bank, but essentially my money isn't working for me. So I need to start working my way around that, maybe start investing it into business or some sort of other investment, or just continue, you know, doing precious metals. I have got stacking goals for this year when it comes to gold and silver. I started the year, like I do every year, with writing a New Year's resolution goal list, and one of the goals on that New Year's resolution list was to buy 2 1-ounce gold Britannia coins, and I've already bought one, so I'm due to buy another one this year. But because I ended up buying 2 1/4-ounce gold Britannias as well, and I also ended up buying this 1 kilo silver Britannia coin, it kind of put a slowdown on my purchase of the second 1-ounce Britannia. But I mean, we're only into March of this year. It'll be April tomorrow, so I'm definitely going to be able to achieve that, possibly next month. I could dip into my savings account and just get it anyway, but that savings account is sort of for other investments that I have in mind and other business plans. And at the end of the day, I have a property and, you know, I've got things I would like to do to my house. So I kind of try and keep that money aside. Like, you know, I like to have a war chest. Yeah, so overall, that was my kind of situation with the bank that happened, and I wanted to share my experience with that for you, because I know it's a hot topic right now, but definitely I think it's a time to really start considering where to put a lot of your wealth. I think precious metals is one of the safest and smartest places to stick your wealth and cash, because it's very easy to liquidate and get that cash back, but it also is fantastic at protecting your wealth. But maybe I should start looking into some more other passive incomes like property. Obviously, I've got the YouTube channel now, which is monetized, which does essentially become a passive income once you create your video and upload it. So I'm getting there slowly. I just need to start implementing some more actions into my plans and desires. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Make sure you leave a comment and let me know your thoughts on the banking crisis or any other topics of this video, whether you still like the filming setup and whether you'd like to see certain content or certain precious metals in the next few videos. I know some of you have already requested videos, so I am aware of that. They are in my to-do list, but I do currently have a large backlog of films that I need to film and schedule, but I will do my best to get round to filming those content that you guys have specifically requested. So until next time, I'll see you in the very next episode. Thank you for watching, and until then, bye-bye guys. To watch another episode on future investments, click the link now.